You have reached the voicemail box of...
Alright, well, we are stuck in traffic right now, on our way, but should hopefully be there just in time to interview Rob. We'll see. Hello.
Hey, Dan, this is Rob. I just saw that you called me.
So I'm in a little bit of traffic. It's just starting to move a little better now, but I should be there in like maybe 15, 20 at the most.
No worries.
I gotta park.
I'm just staying where we did that interview before by that one entrance on Nelson and Hornby.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to go in yet because I don't want to get arrested any sooner than I have to. So I'm just kind of staying outside and that's where I'll be at.
And you're going to go in at like what, 10 to 10 or something?
Yeah, not any sooner than I have to.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, I should be there soon.
Okay, I'll see you in a bit.
All right, thanks. See ya.
Bye.
All right, we're right around the corner from the courthouse. I think I've made it just in the nick of time. We're going to see if we can still catch Rob for an interview, hopefully get an interview with his lawyer, and we'll see what these guys have to say. This is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth. We're here at the BC Supreme Court, and I'm joined by Rob Hoogland, a man who I've been covering his case and story since the very beginning, almost 3 years ago. And this has all culminated into today, where he is now facing a warrant for his arrest, and he's here, in fact, to be arrested. So, Rob, man, this is crazy that it's come to this. Why don't you just start us off telling us about this day? How did this come about, and what are you expecting today?
Right. This kind of came about because I do have a criminal trial scheduled for April 12 to 16. And they had kind of let me out on my own reconnaissance, even though I was never officially arrested. But I do face a criminal trial for breaches of what was a conduct order, which was at the time specific to myself only. It was even different than, say, the publication ban that you would face. In the meantime, they caught wind of something on my Go Get Funding page, in which there was a documentary from Family Watch International where the doctors' names come out, and another speech that I did at the Hilton in Victoria in support of Jen Smith in his run to become a member of the Legislative Assembly of British Columbia, where he introduces me by my first name, Rob. And since you mentioned, I'm willing to mention it as well. And so that's why I am here. They are simply saying that I breached, and therefore they put out an arrest warrant on March 4, but Carrie Lind was able to get them to hold it until today, in which case I've committed to surrendering myself today, March 16. So, yeah, that's where we're at in terms of the newest information. I'm assuming people know the story. I mean, obviously I'm fighting for children. When it comes, they're experimenting on our children in our schools. They have a policy in place called SOGI 123, which essentially eliminates parents as their rights as a parent, and are saying that the government can parent better. But the government's not parenting; they're sterilizing, and apparently that's normal. And here I am, as these doctors are walking free, who have committed what I consider crimes against humanity. They are hiding behind children. They're such cowards. They don't defend what they do. If they're so proud of what they do, why are they not stepping forward and announcing to the world the great work that they are doing? Why am I the one stepping forward denouncing the terrible work that they are doing? Is essentially what is happening. So, yeah, I mean, it's appalling. And I think every parent has to wake up and take back our rights as parents. You know, these kids they're vulnerable, they're victims, and they're being taken advantage of by an ideology that only wants to smash and destroy lives. And that's all they care about. They don't even have an end game. They just break. They don't know how to rebuild. And that's how I feel about these nuts on the left that are doing this to our kids. It's ridiculous.
Now, this is in terms of violating the gag order. Am I correct about when it comes to them trying to silence you into being able to talk about what has happened to your daughter, right? And you essentially decided to go ahead and continue talking anyways, right?
Right. I see this as civil disobedience. That's what Carrie Lind and that's going to be our defense in the criminal trial. I'm sure it'll be our defense today, even though this is a breach ahead of the criminal trial. But again, they've been trying to paint me as a criminal, and they haven't been able to do it. This is the first case of its kind in the world, and they don't even know how to kind of figure this one out. So they've taken a family and a civil case and turned it into a criminal case. It's the government of British Columbia, the Attorney General, who is going after me now. And it's sickening because This is my opinion. I mean, Carrie Lind will say, well, it's the $1 million question, the speculation. What's going to happen today? Will I get be told, don't do it again, see you on April 12th? Will I be able to post bail? Or will they just simply say, we're going to teach you a lesson and you're going to get 7 to 10 days in jail? That's what Carrie Lind is telling me. I have a different opinion, and of course everything changed because I did an interview with Mass Resistance that's gone essentially viral, where I just pull out all the punches. And even Carrie Lind told me yesterday, he goes, Rob, we have to tell people about this interview, otherwise you're purging yourself on the stand. I said, fine, I have nothing to hide. Tell everybody what's going on. And I did an interview with the Federalist. I finished that up this morning. That's coming out in the coming days, and that's fantastic. I couldn't. What these people think they can do to me is nothing compared to the life sentence they're giving these kids. Right. It's disgusting and it's wrong, and they're destroying children's lives. If they throw me in jail even for 5 years, which is I'm looking at as the worst case scenario coming at the trial, that's nothing compared to what my daughter is going to be living through until the day that she dies. Right?
So you have no intentions of slowing down anytime soon, even though they're upping the intimidation factor.
I have no intention of slowing down, but they have every intention of slowing me down, and that's the good job of the government, right? I mean, why wouldn't they want to cover up something as despicable as this? There's a reason they don't want anybody knowing what's going on, because it's like a terrorist group, this government, what they're doing to our kids.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible your case could set a potential precedent in this country when it comes to parental rights, when people realize that it's getting this bad to the point where fathers are being sent to prison? Could this set a precedent? Do we need a ripple effect to spread here?
I hope so. I've often asked, what can we do for you? What kind of help can we offer? And of course, and it's not just me. I'm not a lone shark in this. I mean, we've got people like yourself and others who are all involved. But to me, the most important thing is that we need to educate people. People need to know what's going on. And I have said, one reason I like getting my name out at this point is actually for my own protection. Because in a far left, ideologically driven country, the last thing you want is the only person that knows who you are is the government who's trying to destroy you, right? Because they're hiding who you are. I'm counting on the protection of the people of Canada, of the United States, of the world, to help me get the story out. And like I say, it's all about educating people. People need to know, and that's where my protection comes from, is people doing exactly that, is spreading the word, waking people up. SOGI 123 is cleverly hidden as a policy so that they can't say it's a curriculum, because then people would know what it is. And it's essentially designed, it's in the policy that they think they're protecting, well, they know they aren't, but this is what they're selling, is that they're protecting children from their own parents.
Can you remind people, in case they haven't heard of what the acronym stands for, SOGI 123?
Yeah, SOGI 123, the Sexual Orientation Gender Identity Program, and the 123 is simply like saying ABCs, right? It's 1, 2, 3. It's just the steps. It's a 3-step platform. And
this is for children at what age?
Well, it was introduced first, my understanding is, into the Delta School District as kind of a guinea pig project, but my understanding now is it goes through all ages. It starts in preschool. So they're already giving little kids that are like 4 or 5 years old books telling them that they're not a boy or a girl anymore. And where do you even start with some of that stuff? It's horrifying.
And all you've done is spoken out about what has happened to your daughter, and for that are now literally facing jail time. Did you receive a warrant? And I suppose they haven't told you how many days to expect in jail?
No, that's the $1 million question. I don't know what to expect. I'm out here right now, but I know as soon as I walk in those doors, either I'll be arrested as I walk in, or I'll possibly be arrested. They'll actually let me into the courturroom first, and then be able to sit there and then get arrested in the courtroom. I don't know. It's all speculation.
Right. There is a warrant for your arrest at this point.
There is an arrest warrant. In fact, I posted it yesterday, so if people want to find it, they should be able to find it somewhere online, because enough media has a copy of it.
Okay. People may also be wondering how they can help you, because a lot of parents ought to be outraged about this, and if so, they may be thinking, hey, what can I do? What can I do to help in this particular case? Is there anywhere we can point them to?
Well, that goes back to what I just said. I mean, the most important thing, if you want to help me, is to repeat the story, other people's stories that are going through the same thing. We got to wake people up. That's the most important thing. That makes everything I'm doing worthwhile. The government's trying to bury it, and my goal is to make sure it never gets buried, and that's where the people come in. Of course, there's the simple ways that I have to go get funding page, which is one of my problems right now. But it's up and active, and in prayer. I mean, there's always the power of prayer, and that's something that anybody is welcome to do as well. I just that kind of support. But yeah, those are kind of the three things that come to mind.
Perfect.
To be honest.
I want to encourage people to not only check the links in the description below, but yes, share this information. Pray for this man. You're truly being a pioneer here, and history will look back as you being one of the heroes who really stood up for not just parental rights, but for the rights of children. To be able to live their lives the way they're supposed to be. So, any final thoughts on this whole thing? I mean, this literally may be your last few minutes of freedom here.
Yeah, it's a little bit overwhelming. I mean, when I started 3 years ago, I actually thought it was a very simple thing. I figured the minute I go into provincial court where I started, that the judge would right away say, well, of course we can't sterilize your child. This is ridiculous. 3 years later, I'm going to jail and the government is sterilizing my child and I can't talk about it. Insane. Yeah. Insane. So, but here we are. Here we are.
Well, I'm going to continue to follow this case as I have been since the very beginning. So we'll get an update about what's going to happen in there in the end. So stay tuned for that, guys. Rob, once again, man, thanks for talking to us, and you keep up the fantastic work.
Yeah, thank you for showing up. This is important, witnessing history here. Hopefully, so at the start of hopefully things change. Yeah. This is the start of change.
So we're in front of the BC Supreme Court right now, and we're joined by the lawyer who is representing the man who can only be referred to as CD on the inside. We're here with Carrie Lynn. Carrie, thanks so much for joining us. Now, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but the warrant was issued. What are we expecting to happen in here today with CD?
Well, Crown Counsel advised me about 10 days ago that they had a warrant out for CD's arrest, but they were going to hold it pending his voluntary showing up today. So he will be arrested, and then it's a question of on what grounds will he be released. It's the Crown's obligation to satisfy or to prove to the court that there's some risk. There's no burden on me or CD. The assumption is he can get out on his own recognizance unless the Crown can convince the court otherwise. And I don't know what they're going to say. They refuse to give me their position.
And what's the arrest specifically for?
For breaching, it's for criminal contempt, which is a common law offense. It's not a criminal code offense. It's just for breaching a court order. And the curiosity is that the same orders and the same types of breaches are in the other matters which are going to be going on in April, which were filed within the family matter, but not as an arrest. This is David Eby, the Attorney General of the Province of British Columbia, has upped the ante here for reasons which I don't know. He'll have to explain. I mean, it's just a question of retribution. Are they just getting mad at this guy? Why are they doing this now when it's the same as what they did last fall without arresting him?
Right. And as I understood it, there was a gag order. Is that playing into this, the fact that he has been, in fact, quite vocal, despite the fact that they put a gag order on him?
Well, that's what the allegation is, that he has breached what we call the gag orders, which were orders that one psychologist and a particular pediatric endocrinologist at Gender Clinic at Children's Hospital, they cannot be named. But all of this was, originally came out 2 years ago. And, the idea that it's all going to go away, no. Yeah. The genie is out of the bottle, right. And no amount of arrest threats is going to put it back in.
Do you think it's possible this event could set a precedent and maybe even a ripple effect all across the country when it comes to parental rights? When people see things like this, a man going to jail for something like this, is it possible that this could wake up people to the real issues we have here?
Well, yes and no. The issues, the specific issues are SOGI and the Infants Act. The fact that the law permits school counselors to transition or to push a child to transition without letting the parents know, and that the Infants Act permits an endocrinologist to prescribe and administer cross-gender hormones without the knowledge of the parents. That's the evil in the mix.
Now, in terms of today, can you give us a best-case scenario and a worst-case scenario?
Well, that's easy. The best case scenario is they say you're released on your own recognizance and we're going to come back at a certain date to deal with this. I'm going to request that we don't deal with this until after we deal with the 4 days we've set aside in April on the other matters. The worst case is they could say you're going to stay in jail until your trial.
Which is in April.
No, we don't have a date set for this trial. You know, that's the typical, you know, if you've committed a murder and you're arrested, they hold you pending trial.
Right. So he could potentially be in there for
months. For months, yeah.
Wow.
Potentially. Unlikely. I mean, let's face it, this judge has got a sort of a conundrum. You know, he's got a tiger by the tail. And I don't envy what he's going to do. This is very difficult for the courts to deal with. Yeah. What are they going to do, make this guy a martyr?
Right. Well, I think history's going to look back at this time, and these judges better make sure they're on the right side of the history rather than these leftist activists who are making all this happen, right?
Well, I expect that at some point fairly soon we should bring an application to remove these draconian orders. It's interesting that when the Court of Appeal last year put this in place for 1 year, for 2 years ago, it was for 1 year. The other side has not applied to have it extended. I mean, what harm is coming to anybody? None. Absolutely zero. There's not an iota of evidence that anybody is at risk because of this.
The only person at risk is the person, you know, the children being, you know, mutilated without the parental rights here. That's the only thing.
I got to go in.
Well, there you have it, folks. Best case scenario, he gets out of here today. Worst case scenario, he's in here for a couple of months. And again, we're talking about all because of a guy who's speaking out about what happened to his daughter and a tyrannical government trying to shut him down. It's absolutely unbelievable that we've come to this stage in this case here, but as Rob said, it's absolutely of the utmost importance to get this information out there so that other parents know that these things are happening right now, guys. So please click that thumbs up button. I know it's weird to click the thumbs up button on a video like this, but we need it to go viral. We need you to help share this information. That's the one thing we can do to help Rob the most. Also, check the links in the description to find out how you can support him on his Patreon. And if you appreciate my efforts here at Press for Truth to bring you this information, as we've been covering this case for over 3 years now, as it culminated into this crazy day, please also check the links in the description to find where you can find us at pressfortruth.ca/donate. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Stay tuned. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth.